I am Kapil Gasain. I actually work for technology risk management for CBA. I've been in Australia for 5 years now. Originally, of course, I'm from India. And yeah, so we stay in Sydney from the last 5 years.
Hi, I'm Harshada Gosain. I've also been in Australia for 5 years now, considering I'm married to him. I work for Active Super, which is a super fund. It's a trustee company, and I'm a company secretary with the company. We live in the Bockham Hills area of Sydney, and we're really loving it here.
So we had been thinking about an investment property for quite a while. So I actually went and I spoke to a lot of other buyers agents as well. There was one thing that I had learned that you need somebody who has expert knowledge. When I spoke to a lot of other people, right, like there was one big difference between investor dreams and them. Everybody was ready to market, everybody was ready to sell me a property, everybody was ready to work for me. But when I spoke to Sanjeev, he was more concerned with what are my goals, what do I want to achieve, why do I want to invest. That was one of the biggest differences between investor dreams and others. And that's why I preferred this. I'm like, okay, this is a person who's pretty genuine about what he is doing. And that kind of built that trust. The other biggest reason also was that one of my very close trusted friends who is a customer for investor teams for the last couple of years and has bought two properties also spoke very highly about you. And when I kind of validated that in our first conversations with investor teams, that's where we decided on going with investor teams. So for me, it was very smooth, like the entire process, right? Basically, because I don't have the expertise, I was also looking for somebody that gives me an end-to-end value to what I wanted out of my buyer's agent. So that's where investor team working with investor teams was very smooth. We got all our queries answered. You were very proactive. You were always out there, right? Whenever I needed something, just one message and you would always be there to help me with my query. Uh, Sometimes it also went beyond the remit of what investor dreams needs to do. Like there were some questions that probably we shouldn't be asking our buyer's agent, but I would go ahead and ask you those and you would be always helping me with that. So I felt like that part, right, where we're working with you, finding those properties, that proactivity, that reciprocity, that really worked wonders for me, and it was really awesome. So it's actually a very good question, right? And I also like the fact that you're calling it an investment and not an expense because that is what it exactly is, right? We come into this knowing what we want, but we really don't know how do we want it and exactly where do we want things to be, right? What is going to give us good capital growth, good rental yield. But then that's the expertise that investor teams brings to us, right? So definitely it's worth every money that we spend on to get that expertise, to get that end to end, part of the journey where okay, we know exactly what's happening at one end. So I feel like it's definitely worth the investment that we have spent. Uh, Going ahead, like if we had to spend our time, if we had to spend our research, A, couldn't be sure of whether we'll get the results that somebody with your expertise can bring us. And B, it just like with our busy schedules, we really don't have the time and the energy to do it. So I think that way it really is worth the investment.
Yeah, and just building on that point with the busy schedules thing. So, given my work schedule is very busy, I wasn't able to make a lot of time for these discussions during the day. Sanjeev is very considerate and very kind enough to have these meetings for us to have discussions after us, sometimes weeknights, weekends, just to accommodate us. So that really helped. So yeah, that's been really good with him, of course.
I think, yeah, for sure we would, right? Like the experience has been great. The experience has been smooth. We have got everything that we wanted out of it. Like I mentioned before, professionalism, proactivity, reciprocity, like somebody just being there, looking out for you is the feeling that we really want when we jump into this. We really don't know what's happening. So if you have that trust in somebody that you feel like, okay, this guy is going to look out for me, he's going to look out for all the things that I would want and would want me to be successful. If you find a person like that, which is invested in Sanjeev, so we'll definitely be more than happy to recommend it to our friends and family.